A $6 spray can prevent $8,000 in engine damage or destroy your brakes in seconds, turning a helpful tool into a deadly mistake. Today you'll discover 11 professional-grade WD-40 strategies that separate smart mechanics from expensive failures, including 3 critical never-touch zones that could save your life. Never pour WD-40 into your engine. Picture this: your neighbor hears a slight tick, grabs the red can, and pours a generous splash into his oil filler, thinking he's being clever with a penetrating lubricant. Within 200 miles, his engine seizes completely, leaving him with an $8,000 rebuild and a hard lesson in chemistry. WD-40 isn't oil, it's a solvent blend that evaporates under heat, strips protective films, and lacks the viscosity index that keeps bearings alive under pressure. The mineral spirits actually dissolve your engine's lubricating barrier, creating metal-on-metal contact that generates catastrophic heat and wear. Engines need stability, not solvents. If you accidentally added any, drain the crankcase immediately. Replace the filter, refill with manufacturer spec oil, and monitor oil pressure religiously for the next 1,000 miles, because bearing damage shows up as knocking, and knocking means game over. 2. Never spray your brake system. Here's what brake engineers know that most car owners don't. Friction coefficient is everything, and even microscopic contamination cuts stopping power by dangerous margins. When you spray WD-40 on squeaky brake pads or rotors, you're essentially coating the only surfaces designed to grip and convert motion into heat with a slippery film that can soak permanently into pad material. The contamination doesn't just wash off, it penetrates the friction compound, swells rubber seals, and can cause brake fluid leaks that lead to complete system failure. Your stopping distance increases immediately. Use dedicated brake cleaner that evaporates completely, leaving zero residue behind. And if you've already contaminated pads, replace them. Don't gamble with physics. Remember, every other car repair is inconvenient, but brake failure is potentially fatal, so treat that system with the respect it deserves. 3. Stop using WD-40 on paint scratches. Why does that scratch seem to vanish when you spray it, only to reappear darker an hour later? The oily film fills the groove temporarily, creating an optical illusion that tricks your eye into thinking the damage is gone. But physics doesn't lie, and neither does time. That residue becomes a magnet for road dust, brake dust, and environmental contaminants that act like liquid sandpaper every time you wash the car, slowly dulling your clear coat, and sometimes staining the paint underneath. The quick fix becomes a $3,000 repaint. Real scratch correction removes or levels the defect through controlled abrasion. Wash thoroughly, test mild compound with a foam pad, refine with polish, then seal properly. For deep gouges that catch your fingernail, seek professional paint correction before the damage spreads, because quality clear coat is expensive to replace and impossible to fake convincingly. 4. Find vacuum leaks in under 60 seconds. Every experienced mechanic has learned this truth. When an engine's idle hunts like it's gasping for breath, there's almost always a vacuum leak hiding somewhere in the maze of hoses and gaskets. Traditional diagnosis involves expensive smoke machines or hours of methodical inspection. But here's the field trick that works when scanners give up. Mix WD-40 around vacuum hoses, intake boots, and gasket seams while the engine runs at idle. If the RPMs change, you've found your culprit instantly. The spray temporarily seals the gap and alters the air-fuel mixture just enough to reveal the exact location, and unlike carburetor cleaner, WD-40 won't damage plastic components or oxygen sensors. Vacuum leaks kill fuel economy fast. Work systematically from the throttle body outward, listen for idle changes, mark the problem spots with chalk, then replace the failed hoses or gaskets. That 2-minute diagnostic saves you a $150 shop fee and restores proper fuel trims immediately. Revive red ignition systems fast. Water and electricity create expensive problems, especially when moisture invades your ignition system after heavy storms or aggressive car washes. The WD in WD-40 stands for water displacement, and that original 1953 formula was designed specifically to push moisture out of critical components and leave a protective film that prevents corrosion. When your engine cranks but won't catch, or runs rough after getting soaked, the spark energy is shorting through water films on plugs, boots, and distributor components. Moisture kills spark instantly. Disconnect the battery for safety, let everything cool down, then remove spark plug boots and spray the wet components generously. Give it 5 minutes to displace the water, dry with compressed air if available, reassemble carefully, and restart. This works for light moisture intrusion, not flood damage, so don't expect miracles if you've been underwater, but for typical storm exposure, it beats a tow truck every time. If saving engines, wallets, and weekends sounds good, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Drop a comment with your worst automotive disaster. I read every single one and often feature the best stories in upcoming videos. Now let's keep going with techniques that'll make you the neighborhood hero. 6. Break seized bolts without snapping. There's nothing more frustrating than fighting a rusted fastener with a breaker bar, feeling it resist, then suddenly snap, leaving you with an extraction nightmare and a project that just tripled in complexity. Corrosion essentially welds threads together through oxidation, creating mechanical bonds that can exceed the bolt's tensile strength. But WD-40 Specialist Penetrant uses low-viscosity chemistry and capillary action to creep deep into those corroded threads from the inside out. Laboratory tests show torque reductions of 60 to 80% after proper application. Rust grips harder than you think. Wire brush the exposed threads first so the penetrant can reach clean metal, spray generously, then work the fastener within minutes while the active solvents are doing their job. Alternate between slight tightening and loosening motions to shock the threads and reapply as needed rather than forcing it with brute strength that breaks expensive parts. 7. Waterproof electrical connections. Most people discover electrical gremlins the hard way. Intermittent misfires, sensor codes, or dashboard lights that flicker like a haunted house. All because moisture crept into a connector months ago and started the slow process of corrosion. Tiny resistance becomes big problems over time, and what starts as a hesitation can escalate into a $500 wiring harness replacement if you ignore the early warning signs. The water displacement in WD-40's formula pushes moisture out of clean electrical connections and leaves a thin protective film that blocks future corrosion, but timing and technique matter crucially. Dry metal conducts better than wet metal. Always disconnect the battery first. Brush away visible oxidation. Blast with WD-40 Specialist Contact Cleaner for sensitive components like ECUs and sensors. Let it evaporate completely. Then apply a very light film of original WD-40 only on non-sensitive connectors to seal out moisture. Less resistance means fewer codes and more reliable operation. 8. Keep door seals flexible year-round. Have you ever had a door freeze shut on a winter morning, requiring hot water or brute force to break free? That's rubber chemistry working against you. Cold weather makes door seals rigid and brittle, causing them to bond temporarily with the door frame. But the real damage happens when water seeps past compromised seals and creates mildew, electrical problems, and carpet damage that costs hundreds to remediate properly. Petroleum-based lubricants can actually attack rubber compounds over time, trading today's convenience for tomorrow's expensive seal replacement. But WD-40 Specialist Silicane Spray is engineered specifically for rubber applications. Flexible seals prevent expensive problems. Clean the rubber first to remove dirt and salt residue. Mist lightly with silicane spray. Spread evenly with a microfiber cloth. Wipe away excess so dust doesn't accumulate. And repeat this process every 3 months like clockwork. Your doors will open smoothly year-round and your interior stays dry. 9. Restore chrome without scratching. What happened to that mirror-bright chrome bumper that used to reflect like a lake surface? Road film, water spots, and tar buildup don't just dull the shine, they create microscopic surface contamination that invites corrosion to creep under the chrome plating, and once that protective layer is compromised, rust blooms fast and expensive. The key is gentle chemistry rather than aggressive abrasion, because chrome is actually a thin plating over softer metals that can be damaged permanently by harsh compounds or steel wool. WD-40's Mineral Spirit Blend cuts through grime effectively while leaving a thin protective film that sheds water and slows future contamination. Shine protects itself when maintained correctly. Work on cool surfaces to prevent streaking. Spray WD-40 evenly. Let it dissolve the buildup for a minute. Then wipe with clean microfiber for stubborn spots. Use 000 steel wool with feather-light pressure, always finishing with a thorough microfiber buff to restore that head-turning reflective finish. 10. Remove tree sap before it etches paint. Tree sap looks innocent enough when it first lands on your hood, just a sticky amber blob that seems like it should wash right off. But that natural resin is actually a complex acidic compound that hardens under sunlight and slowly etches into your clear coat like microscopic sandpaper. Work review R7. Left untreated for weeks, sap creates permanent cloudy spots that require professional paint correction or complete panel refinishing to remove properly. The smart approach uses controlled chemistry instead of brute force scraping that can scratch through to bare metal. WD-40's solvent base softens hardened sap safely, allowing it to release without damaging the finish underneath, but timing and cleanup are critical for success. Sap damage accelerates in heat and sunlight. Work on cool panels in shade, mist the affected area generously. Wait 2 minutes for penetration. Lift gently with microfiber cloth using light pressure. Then immediately wash the panel with soap and water followed by fresh wax application to restore the protective barrier your clear coat depends on. 11. Make license plates readable again. When did that rear plate turn from crisp black lettering to faded gray smudges that a traffic camera might struggle to read? Years of road salt, UV exposure, and embedded grime create a dull film that can actually earn you an unreadable plate citation in some jurisdictions. But more importantly, it makes your entire vehicle look neglected and older than its actual age. The buildup isn't just surface dirt. It's a combination of oxidation, grease, and microscopic road debris that bonds to the aluminum substrate and resists normal washing. WD-40 cuts through this embedded contamination quickly and safely, without the harsh acids found in some aluminum cleaners. Clean plates project attention to detail. Remove the plate completely for thorough access. Wash with warm soapy water first to remove loose debris. Dry completely. Apply WD-40 with light pressure using microfiber cloth. Polish until letters pop with contrast. Then reinstall. Don't expect the original retroreflective coating to return, but the improved legibility and professional appearance are immediately noticeable. Right product, right place. That's the fundamental rule separating smart mechanics from expensive disasters. WD-40 Specialist Contact Cleaner for sensitive electronics, silicone formula for rubber components, penetrant for seized fasteners, and classic WD-40 only where water displacement and light cleaning make sense. But remember those three critical never touch zones: engine internals, brake friction surfaces, and paint scratches, because one careless spray can transform a helpful maintenance tool into a liability that costs thousands. Master these 11 techniques and your red can become a precision instrument instead of a guessing game. Want to keep your car running like new while avoiding dealership prices? Watch this next video where I reveal 17 sneaky tricks car dealers use to inflate repair bills. Knowledge that could save you more than your car payment this year. Final drill. Not professional advice, consult a qualified expert when in doubt.